Welcome everyone to my channel. I'm Chess Edition, your host. I'm gonna play bunch opening or bunch defense games. I'm gonna start right now. Since I'm white, I'm gonna play f3. Pawn to g3. Bishop to g2. Pawn to e3. Knight to h3. Knight falls back to f2, or bishop takes h3. Falls back to f2. Pawn to a3. Controlling this b4 square. Pawn to b3. Pawn to f4. Next move, bishop flanks on b2. Bishop flanks on b2. Pushing the pawn from b3 to b4. Knight to c3. Knight to a4. Knight to a4. Knight takes bishop. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Then maybe trade of queens. Pawn to c4. Pawn to c5. Most likely I'm gonna block with pawn h2 to h4. Pawn h2 to h3. Captures with the king. Maybe bishop from b2 to g7. I think I better take the bishop, or either b2 to g7. I decided to G7, go to G7 instead. Bishop to D4. Pawn to G. Pawn to G4. Most likely capturing the light square bishop of black pieces. Pushes another pawn from F4 to F5. Pawn takes bishop. Pawn takes knight. Most likely I'm gonna flank the knight to C5. Then attacking the bishop or the pawn. Rook to E1. Next move, pawn takes pawn. Rook to E3 first. Trade of pawns. Knight to C5. Most likely queen goes to C1. Queen C1. Wait. Queen C1. Most likely pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn. if he doesn't take, I'm gonna advance the pawn to a4 if possible. Then if he takes, I take back with the knight. Most probably okay. Knight to b3. Most likely pawn to a4, but it also can happen for knight takes d4 rook. Most likely I'm gonna play a3 to a4. Pawn takes pawn. Now the knight will go to c5, the rook is gonna go to b1. Okay, so I'm gonna check and try to swindle the queen on e5. If not, I'm gonna take back with the pawn and checking the king and the rook. That's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be signing off. I'm your chess edition, your host for today. That's all. Bye.